All right, guys. So welcome to another Scaling Brokerage podcast. We have Nicholas on today's episode. He's going to be sharing a lot about his team, how he's been able to grow and navigate through challenges, and also continue to grow it with his future and vision with the team. So, Nicholas, thanks so much for hopping on today.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. So, Nicholas, if you don't mind, can you maybe tell us a little bit more about, the Judd team and what got you to even start your team in the first place?
That's a long story. I've been in it for a while. So I started, with the dream of fixing and flipping houses and making millions of dollars really quickly. The get rich quick kind of things. And not that doesn't work for some, it just didn't really pan for me as well. From there, I just started traditional real estate as an agent. Got successful with what I did there. Was in Phoenix at the time. Then we made a move to California, and from there I just kept growing as best as I could, more natural growth, your steady growth. And over the last 3 to 4 years has been more of a push for growth. That's been kind of cool. Judd team, it grows and contracts and grows and contracts. It's it's a constant battle all the time. It's fun. I'm trying to build something that runs without me. That's the goal.
Absolutely. And so the Judd team, you said you were located in Phoenix. What part of Phoenix were you located in?
So originally started in Glendale. My wife was in a pharmacy school there off of 35th Avenue, and I can't remember the name. Bell was the biggest road, but that wasn't the road we were on. So kind of North Glendale, North Phoenix area.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So Alan, my business partner, for our recruiting company, coaching consulting, he has a brokerage in off 75th and the 101.
Oh yeah, that's right around the corner.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's great. So
there for a good 17 years now. So
17. Wow, that's great. You plan on any plans on moving back? No.
No, we were there for my wife to go to school.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Awesome. Well, if you don't mind, then so you're growing the team. Like right now, do you have any agents under your team right now, or where are you at?
Yeah,
right now?
When real estate was easy, everybody was just taking orders. Right, we climbed to about 7 agents total. Market shifted. Right, all of a sudden we went down. The part-time agents, just didn't make it. It was harder to feed them, harder to keep them going. So we scaled back down to now it's just the 3 of us with 2 support staff.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And what would you say were some of the biggest challenges you've faced so far as a team leader? Going through the growth and downsizing the team and everything again, market. What would you say were some of the biggest challenges during the process?
I think the processes that you develop, when it's fast and easy and it's just kind of coming, you're throwing it together as it comes. And if you're not refining that process, and this is what we figured out or learned, I guess, is when you don't refine that process, and then all of a sudden the ease of real estate goes away, rates jump up, market shifts and changes, and your processes aren't really kind of fine-tuned and nailed down. That's where the problem came in for us. Anyway, we saw, we didn't really have a great process of really getting clients and converting them. And so we focused hard on switching that and making changes. So yeah, I think that's the biggest advice is, when you've got time, you need to make time to focus on those processes and changes.
Gotcha. And what would you say are like the biggest changes you made within the team to take it to the next level with your processes?
So one that we did is we really kind of restructured our listing side. So we came up with reasons that made us better, how we marketed differently, and that allowed us to charge more on the listing side. So we started with all the stuff of the lawsuit and NAR and all that other stuff. We started doing listing only side almost 2 years ago. And we were putting our buyers into buyer broker agreements roughly 3 years ago. So we really kind of learned how to do that before it ever happened. I think we were the first in California to offer 0% commission on the MLS, at least in Northern California. We got a lot of calls from agents on that.
Yeah, wow. That's pretty neat. So you guys probably didn't have to, since you guys already had that in practice, it didn't really change much for you. Not
really. We already knew how to negotiate. The change is still negotiating or talking with agents now that just don't understand. One of my pet peeves or problems that I have is that, we put our buyers under at least a 3% commission. And when I present that to the agent, to have them automatically say, well, that's not the norm. And I go, well, there's no norm. This is negotiable. Nothing's normal anymore, right? Everything's changed. And it blows my mind that they push back on that as opposed to really get on the bandwagon of, hey, it used to be higher. And we used to regard ourselves as professionals, and now we've become order takers. So we're taking less money because it was easy, right? But now it's not so easy. So now you got to become a professional. And I don't understand why agents are fighting that. They should be saying, I'm going to do that too. Let me talk to my seller. Like, yeah, I do want you to get paid a higher commission. I want to learn how to get paid a higher commission. So that's one of the processes that we've been learning. We've been able to really increase, which has been phenomenal over the last year, right? Because we definitely had a decrease, like most, I don't know, in terms of number of transactions, but we didn't decrease in total commission because we raised our fees. We charge more. We charge more. We provide a better service. It always sounds greedy when I just say charge more. But we only provide a way better service than other agents do.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so a lot of our listeners on here, they're all about the main thing that we talk about is the growth of the teams and the brokerages. And you said you've built it up to 7 agents before. So, what strategies have been successful, for like, from starting from scratch as a team leader? How much, how were you able to navigate and get those 7 agents?
That was, I want to say dumb luck, but at the same time, it was a lot of the fact the industry was easy, right? We were talking that 2020, 2021, where everybody just thought it was easy, and to some expense it was, right? So we just had people like, I want to be an agent. Great. We pay for them to go take their courses, and then hand them a few deals here and there, and it worked out pretty well. My strategy is significantly different now. Now I actually try to go after the agents that I do deals with, and I try to talk to them and see what they're doing, see how much they like where they're at. I'm really strong on teaching agents how to negotiate, set, and collect their own fees, right? Even if they don't come work with me, I'm teaching them something that maybe down the line, planting that seed that like, well, wait a minute. If he got this much and I only got this much, what does he know that I don't? So that's kind of my strategy now, is trying to go after that direction.
No, that's great advice. And it's funny because we actually we had a call today. We have a group with brokerage owners, and that's what Alan was saying for probably an hour, is planting seeds, the importance of it, and those deposits. You don't know if an agent's going to come now or 3 months down the road. He actually had an agent who just who's signing up that took 3 years of just planting seeds, attending trainings, and downloading resources from us, and finally he was like, hey, I'm ready to go. And I think he does over like 10 million in sales, but it started with those tiny transactions, calling them like you said and everything. So that's awesome. So
especially if you're working the ones that you're already working with, like, if you've got another team members, like what transactions went well with the other agent? Who did you like working with? Exactly. Reach out to those guys who are already there, put them in your database. For years, I didn't collect agents' information just because of like, well, that's the other agent, just put it aside. Now it goes into my database. They are a client. They are a future potential client.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's such an important thing when it comes to everyone who's like even listening to this too, is everyone here wants to grow their team. They want to grow their brokerage, and you have to treat it the same way as, you treat your buyers and sellers in a database. You got to send them emails. You have to follow up with them. And most importantly, like have their information, have their data, run ads on them and everything. So
Absolutely. Like I said, I did it, right. I did a call, I put their number in my phone number and in my phone. So when they called during that transaction, I knew who they were. But after that, I did nothing with it.
yeah.
It's a waste.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so could we expand on that a little bit more then too? Are you doing anything specifically to recruit agents right now or to grow the team?
Yeah, so right now I don't specifically recruit any like paid advertisements. It's more just local organic. When I work with them, we reach out to them, try to talk to them, submit, a handful of emails out to them just to kind of go, hey, what are you doing? Like I said, my favorite is typically with us, what they find at the end of the transaction is that we've charged 4% for a listing and they only collected 2 on the buy side, right? So I'm usually double their commission. So their question is always like, wait, how did you do that? So, everybody's interested in the day of decreasing commissions. How am I raising my commission? So that's one good way to kind of show that is that way. But actively ads and stuff, I do want to get there. I got some more processes. I got some more things I'm working on right now before I start ramping that back up.
That's great. Okay, so you have some processes and stuff, and then so you right now have all of that going on. Well, let's expand on the future and the vision of the growth of your team then. So, the real estate industry is always constantly evolving. Like you said, it's got its ups, it's got its downs. Where do you see your team, in the next year, with the Judd team?
Yeah. So my initial Judd team idea was you came, you worked with me, and I'll give you the leads to survive, which was easy again back into the easy time. But as it's gotten a little more difficult, more costly to develop clients and leads and all that other stuff, I've switched it to where anybody who joins my brokerage is on the team. And as we have overflow inside the brokerage, we hand out deals. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but you hand an agent 4 or 5 deals. Last couple agents I've done, right? They've made it almost $50,000 to $70,000 extra just on the deals I handed them. And then we're teaching them the tools and the skill set of going after their own book of business through making sure they are collecting a database, they're working that database. Like we were talking about, I worked well my database, but I didn't work a database of agents to get them on. So now I know how to work a database. I need to teach the new agents how they need to work their database, because that's still the easiest business, right?
Yeah.
Referrals and family and friends. This is the easiest ones to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
The next skill set after that is, all right, let me hand you a handful of broker deals. Here you go. Take these and these are a little easier because they're already sold on me. So now you have to do is not screw that up. And after that, it's all right. How do we market and get people that don't know, like, and trust you? And then you got to win that business.
Yeah. 100%. No, that's great points right there. And let's fast forward to like maybe 3 or 5 years from now. Where do you see the Judd team at?
So I'd like to be, in my mind, I don't want to have, 75 agents. If I could get about 10 to 20 agents that are all producing into that 250K range a year, that's kind of my goal, is let's get productive agents. One thing I've noticed as I bring in more productive agents, it allows me to provide more support staff to pull things off those productive agents, and they can still remain productive instead of being caught in the weeds in the trenches. And that's a huge value for productive agents. And also, when I did it before, I brought in 3 new agents, and before I knew it, I was babysitting, and I'm just not a good babysitter. There's probably amazing trainers on there that can do that. It's just not my skill set. So I'm trying to learn to play to my strengths to build that team. Like I said, in my vision, I'm at like 25 highly producing agents, and that put a good chunk into the business.
Awesome. And if you were starting over today, so you had to build the team back from scratch, what would be the best advice that you could give to yourself as a brand new team?
As a brand new team and or agent, it would be the same. Collect the database, organize it, make sure you continually market to that database. It's the best form of production, lead generation. It's the least costly, and just staying in front of people who already know you and like you and trust you. Right? One of my pet peeves and hard thing is that I've got a database of over 7,000 people. Of course, they don't know and like me, trust me, all of them. I've tried to nurture them through the years, but you lose a few if you haven't been in the business long enough. You will lose a few. That's just what it is. But I hate it when I go and I find someone who listed that I know I contacted 5 years ago, and for whatever reason they fell through a funnel, right? They fell out of the funnel and I lost it. So that would be my thing, is figure out how to make sure those funnels and you don't have the fall through, because that's where I think I could have grown faster, is making sure that bit. And that doesn't include just buyers and sellers. Again, that's agents that you currently work with, agents you collect with, people you just like and talk to. Those are also, I mean, we did the math, and an average seller might be worth, my average commission is around $20,000 a sell. So it's worth $20,000. And if you figure, well, they only sell, every 5 years. So in the 10 years, I'm going to make $40,000 from that client. Well, if the agent comes and works with me, on an average, their value to my business is somewhere between $15,000 and $17,000 a year. That's per year, right?
Yeah.
So every year they stay with me, I now made more money in that 10 years that I had one agent than the one client.
Yeah.
And so I didn't look at that when I first started as agents being potential clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the one of the biggest things I think it was for, so just to kind of give you like a background too of Alan. So before we started this podcast and Modern Day Brokerage, he was a team leader with 17 agents, and he decided to go the brokerage route. 10 agents were like, I'm not switching brokerages. So he had to start from scratch with 7, and he hired 400 agents the past 4 years, but he noticed that having all those agents has been able to completely change everything. Like looking at everything he does now is agent attraction. It's no longer buyer seller focused, because he sees it exactly how you just said it. Yeah. You have your buyers and sellers, and he still has sellers. I've heard it, like when we're in the office, I'll hear him get calls from sellers, but it's never a top priority. It's people from the past. He's always looking for agent opportunities, and I think that's a great point you put there, because we don't really look at that, from a team leader brokerage standpoint. You don't see an agent and see it the same way you see the sellers and buyers, but that's what allows you to hire staff and, have an office and all of those other things, like you said. And I feel like it's more reliable too, because if you consistently bring on, people who are doing a certain level of production, 3 to 5 million or something along those lines. They don't even have to be crazy producers, but you bring them on consistently. That's where you can see a lot of like revenue growth when it comes to the company and stuff. So
provide them the value. That's where I'm fine tuning my processes right now, is how do I provide more value? So then you're going to pick up few and you're going to lose few. That's just part of business. It's part of life.
Yeah.
But if you can provide the value that they keep coming, you're right. That's where it rolls. But that's I guess the main thing. See that differently. And I only over the last probably year or so, or maybe quite 2, have started to kind of see that better. Like, oh,
yeah.
When I first tried to do it, I brought in a lot of newbies, and I've just felt like, oh man, they're just running me ragged. And again, that doesn't mean that's a bad process. It's just not my skill set, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, that's great advice. And anyone who is listening to this too, I will attach a link to the agent value calculator. I have one, so I'll make sure to put a link below this video so you guys can take a look at that. But Nicholas, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for hopping on today.
Yeah, no problem.
Scaling the team. I think you covered some really good points that I don't talk about on a lot of the podcasts, which is processes, how crucial they are. we talk about recruiting agents, we talk about so many other things, but without a good process, you don't really have anything. You're probably going to just have a constant people joining, people leaving, and you probably won't bring as much success to the agents too. So, before we sign off, anyone who's maybe if they're an agent that wants to learn more about the Judd team, or they want to learn a little bit more about your team or find you online, where can they either visit a website, find you on social media, or even contact you directly?
Yeah, so probably fastest way is, thejudteam.com. That's our main website. I always tell people like that you can find me on all the social media sites, but I strongly push Google for the reviews, and just because that's where a lot of the public goes. So if you even just type in the Judd team, search for us, we'll pop up and you'll see all of our reviews. It'll have all of our contact information there.
That's great. How before we hop off too, how has Google made a big impact on your business, do you feel like, with the reviews and everything?
Oh, absolutely. We get, I'd say on an average, 15 to maybe 20 direct calls a month. And so last year I picked up a little mobile home for 50. I paid 75,000 for it, put in 20K, flipped it for another 100 grand. So just one call, right? And they're not expensive. These are called Google local service ads. So if people don't know about them, they should be doing them. But I look at it as, well, statistically, right? Google's still the giant. A lot of people are big on Facebook and social media, which I get, and I think that's a fantastic way to be on top of mind for your database. Yeah. But for those that don't know you, if they hear about you, the first thing they're going to do is Google you, most likely. They're not going to go to Facebook.
Yeah.
So I get calls all the time. I'm like, hey, saw you have 150 5-star reviews.
Yep.
And those, when they say that, right, that's a come do business with me deal.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great.
Everybody has their own, right?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing that last minute golden nugget for everyone, and I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you.